It was our 13th day on the Camino. We walked out of Burgos and onto the Meseta. From my experience, the walk from Burgos to Leon was the hardest part of the Camino. It was windy, flat, and seemed endless. It required all my will to get up and walk each day. Several times I thought of giving up and taking the train to Leon, but my husband would not hear it. I admit, there were some beautiful towns like Hontanas and Castrojeres. We also had some of the best pilgrim's meal, and no doubt we made some new Camino friends. But even with all this, I struggled. To this day, I really don't know why I had such a hard time on the Meseta. My husband and I have hiked some challenging trails. We've trekked up to 6,000 meters above sea level, and have walked till I thought I would literally pass out. But walking this part of the Camino, I was just not prepared for this. One of my biggest challenges on the Meseta was the wind. Our first couple of days, there was a wind warning alert, and it didn't help that we planned to walk 31 kilometers to Hontanas. As we got closer to the town, there was a sign counting down how close we were, but we look around and there was no town in sight. Then, suddenly, the path dives downhill and reveals the town. The relief I felt was indescribable. I just wanted to go in the albergue and hide from the constant wind. It was our 14th day on the Camino. We planned to walk 34 kilometers today, from the town of Hontanas all the way to Meseta. It was another day with a crazy wind. Within the little nooks of the ancient walls, there were messages from pilgrims that had passed. We had breakfast in Castrojeres and visited the church of Nuestra Señora del Manzano. I think it translates to the Church of Our Lady of the Apple. After Castrojeres, there was a bit of an uphill climb, which I gotta say was a relief after walking on flat ground for so long. After that little challenge, it's back to the endless sky. I've heard other pilgrims say that the Meseta is a great place for reflection, but for some reason, I just wasn't in the mood. It was this day I actually decided to start listening to some podcasts. I guess I should give a little insight on what it's like to walk as a couple. I think some people worry that they would drive each other crazy. But for us, well, we annoy each other, but the hikes are also something that helps to build our relationship. Since 2018, we've been going on month-long hiking trips. I'm usually the one that picks and plans some crazy adventure. And once we're there, it's my husband that pushes and convinces me that we can actually finish the crazy hike. We've been together through some of the most physically and mentally draining situations. We've witnessed how strong the other person can be. I have to believe that it helps us build resilience to some of the wild and wacky things that life throws at us.
But I'm right here, it's gonna be okay. The world could fall down, it's gonna be okay. The sun could go out, we're gonna be okay. If all the blue skies fade to gray, we're gonna be okay. Calm your soul, hold my hand.
Day 15 in our Camino, and I struggled to get out of bed. We stayed in Hotel Elizabeth. The beds were so comfy, I didn't want to walk anymore. But instead of taking a full rest day, we decided on a short walk. Just 19 kilometers to Carrión de los Condes.
It's over now, so don't despair. The world could fall down, it's gonna be okay. The sun could go out, we're gonna be okay. If all the blue skies fade to gray, we're gonna.
I think the second biggest challenge as a Meseta is that it messes with perception. The scenery is so flat that you can see the next town clearly, whether it's 5, 7, or 10 kilometers away. So you can walk for hours and hours. That town does not get any closer. Maybe it's a test to relinquish all control and expectations. Before the Meseta, it was easy to see a town and estimate our arrival town. Now, I've given up. I see a town, and all I know is I'll get there when I am there.
Blue skies fade to gray, we're gonna be okay. The world could fall down, it's gonna be okay. The sun could go out, we're gonna be okay. If all the blue skies fade to gray, we're gonna be okay.
It was day 16th on our Camino, and we would walk 23 kilometers to Ladigos. I felt refreshed after our short 19-kilometer day. Short walking days are definitely great alternatives to full-on rest days. We even had time to visit a laundromat. This was a Camino first for us. Everything smelled so good after. I felt so civilized. Reaching Ladigos, we stayed in Albergue La Morena. I was surprised by how stylish the rooms were. We were also lucky to run into our Camino friends from Taiwan. They were also a couple keen on hiking trips. They told us about the Camino sister hike in Japan. It's called Kamano Kodo. We've never been to Japan, even though we're huge fans of anime and Pokemon. Now, with the prospect of another multi-day hike, we definitely have to go. Day 17 on the Camino, we head to Sahagun and walk further onto El Burgo Renero, a total of 34 kilometers. We sped walked to Sahagun anticipating a line for the Midway certificate. I read that it was available in a church, but when we got there, the church was closed. I know it's not really a big deal, but when I saw that, I was like, I am done here. I'm ready to take the train. My husband tried to calm me down with some orange juice from the grocery store. I just love these little Zumo machines. Day 18, and I was so ready to arrive in Leon. It was 37 kilometers away, but after our long trek into Burgos, we knew that we could do this. It was another early start, but first, cats. Back in 2017, we were on our second Camino. We started from Leon and ended in Santiago. That time, it was the longest walk we've ever attempted. The experience was so beautiful, but we were so unprepared. We were plagued by blisters, heat exhaustion, and just plain tiredness. This time, we were a little bit more prepared, but it doesn't take away from exploring beautiful towns and meeting amazing people. Seeing Leon in the distance, it felt like we finally come full circle. We connected the dots. In 2016, we walked from Saint Jean to Pamplona. In 2017, we walked from Leon to Santiago. And in 2022, we did everything in the middle. I was surprised by how overwhelmed I felt reaching Leon. I had a lump in my throat. I don't know if it was sheer exhaustion, but I felt like I was ready to break down and cry at the sight of that city. There's just something about completing a trail. It gives you a real sense of accomplishment. I remember back in 2018, we trekked from Lukla to Everest Base Camp. We were supposed to walk back to Lukla, but after reaching base camp, we were too sick, and so we had to take a helicopter back. The following year, we returned to Lukla to trek to Miro Peak. I was determined to complete the full trek. After 13 days, we reached the peak and circled back down to Lukla. I had a fever and a terrible cough for the last couple of days, but when I stepped back onto the streets of Lukla, It just felt so good. I felt like everything was complete. There was nothing more I could ask for. It was exactly the same feeling when we arrived in Leon. The rest of this walk is just going to be icing on the cake.
Oh, I think they're the condor.